I'm attorney Eric Johnson of Utah Family Law LC, and today I'm going to talk to you about picking out a good lawyer who is the best fit for you in your divorce action. Now, the term best fit or the right pick means different things to different people, but let's be honest with each other. The first thing that most people think about when shopping for a divorce lawyer is how little the person will be billed. That's a terrible way to shop for anything, as most of you know, but somehow everybody thinks that they will be the lucky one who finds an attorney who's dirt cheap and yet very skilled and very effective. People don't want to go around saying I'm looking for the cheapest lawyer I can find, because deep down that's not what they really mean. So they say I'm looking for the best lawyer I can find. They then hope that they'll find someone who is well recommended, and then they find out, hey, they're actually value priced. Let me talk a little bit about prices specifically. At the time I made this video, there are attorneys out there who, or I should say people who claim to be divorce attorneys, who will bill $50 an hour. Now, it goes up from there, but $50 an hour. First of all, I don't bill by the hour, and we'll talk about that later. But there are a lot of good divorce attorneys who will still bill by the hour. But $50 an hour all but guarantees you that that attorney is not good. And let me explain why. There is simply no way that I'm aware of for someone to bill you $50 an hour and still do good legal work. So what that person can do is tell you, yes, I will bill you at $50 an hour, but what they won't tell you, because they can't, or at least they don't have the guts, is to say, I won't actually do good legal work if I do any real legal work for you at all, because the only way for me to make a profit and charge $50 an hour is to just take your money and do nothing. So keep that in mind. You may find something that sounds too good to be true. $50 an hour, not $200 or more dollars an hour? That's because it is too good to be true. Unless somebody is independently wealthy or working for some charitable organization, $50 an hour all but guarantees you that the attorney is just not that good. Otherwise, the attorney would bill more because people are willing to pay more for a valuable service. Now, other people talk about the best lawyer they can find as a lawyer who would basically do anything to win at all costs. And so some of the terms you'll hear about is aggressive. You'll hear about people that care deeply about you and things like that. Talk is cheap. Let's talk about aggressive lawyers. Now, aggressive lawyers are not inherently effective lawyers. In fact, most people just treat aggressive lawyers by dismissing them. Courts don't particularly like them. The clients themselves will get treated just as bad by the aggressive lawyer as that lawyer will end up treating opposing counsel. There are lawyers out there that will basically do whatever you want. If you want to find somebody, I basically refer to them as legal prostitutes. There are lawyers out there who, if you ask them to do things for you, will do whatever you want for a price. Just keep in mind this old proverb that anyone that will lie for you is someone that will lie to you. And I've never seen that prove to be otherwise. An attorney that will be willing to lie and cheat for you is someone who will lie to and cheat you as well. You know it. There's just no point in thinking you're going to be the one lucky person who has that all flow one way for you. Now, of course, the other way of determining a good attorney would be somebody who's experienced and skilled, but unfortunately, they usually end up being the hardest to reach, the people that are hardest to get into and see, and they're also the most expensive. Typically, there are always exceptions. The fact of the matter is that what you don't want to do is buy cheap and pay twice. You pay $50 an hour to somebody, it's going to be many hundreds or thousands of dollars before you finally get wise and realize, okay, this was a bad deal. Now, maybe you think it's worth experimenting for a couple of months or something like that at $50 an hour to see if you're lucky. If so, just remember the risk you are taking. You may save some money because even if the attorney turns out to be bad, you've only spent a couple of $100 over the couple of months. If you get an aggressive attorney and somebody that isn't very effective with the courts, or somebody who just makes everybody angry, again, maybe that will work and maybe everybody will back down, but if it doesn't, that may actually set you behind. Let's talk about where you look for an attorney. Some people think, I will go downtown and I will go to the attorneys, to the law firm rather, that has the highest number of attorneys, or the law firm that has the fanciest building, or things like that. Now, that's not a stupid way to go, let's face it. When we go to a hotel that's clean and big and has liveried doormen and things like that, we might say, oh, but I'll probably have a very good experience here because it looks like these people pay attention to detail. If you go to a big law firm that has a fancy building and clean, well-appointed rooms and things like that, you're going to say, yeah, these people must be doing something right because they're making enough money to afford this. That's true to a point. But I've dealt with people from the big firms, and I've dealt with people in just humble situations where they might have an office out of a strip mall. The fact of the matter is that where your office is just isn't that reliable an indicator of how good the lawyers are. Quite frankly, I deal with a lot of attorneys in big fancy firms who are lazy and simply pass off all the work to their paralegals and assistants and things like that, but they still bill the $500 an hour because they think you're too stupid to figure out what's going on. What you want to do is find the best fit for you when it comes to experience, price, the kind of relationship, working relationship you have with the attorney. And the best way to do that is to not do what virtually every law review website and helpful hints section you'll find. What most people will do is tell you, make up a list of your interests and your goals and then go visit 2 or 3 lawyers. First of all, I'm going to tell you, you should go to about 8 to 10 lawyers. That'll mean you work harder, that'll mean you spend more time, but it also means you'll get a far bigger pool of lawyers to choose from, and it'll be much easier for you to tell who the right choice is. The next thing I'm going to tell you is do not go to people that do not charge or that give a free consultation. Let me tell you why. Now, this may not be obvious to you. Attorneys can't afford to give free consultations all day long. So when someone says free consultation, first of all, you don't get anything for free. What they do is they lure you in with the idea that, oh, I won't have to pay for all this wonderful legal advice. Well, first of all, you're probably not going to get wonderful legal advice. It's like going to a fortune teller. That person's going to ply you with questions to find out where you're vulnerable and find out what worries you, and then play to those fears and play to those weaknesses. So yes, you didn't get charged to meet with that attorney, but frankly, that attorney wasn't really interested in listening to your problems to solve them. That attorney's interested in listening to your problems so that he or she can scare you to death and say, you need to get an attorney right now, and I happen to be just that person. In fact, if you don't walk out of here without signing a retainer agreement, you could be taking your life into your own hands. Attorneys that do charge a fee, and most of them don't charge the same hourly rate as they would for a client, they will charge you a lower fee to help give you an enticement to come and talk to them. But these are people, when they charge for their time, who know their time is valuable and is in fact valuable. These are people who aren't desperate to get clients. These are people that want new clients and certainly want to make a good living, but they're someone who doesn't have to rely on scaring you. This is someone who says, I know I'm good, I already have a good client base, so this is something that I'm willing to charge you a lower fee for, but I'm not going to just give my valuable services away. Keep that in mind. You might say, if I have to meet with 8 to 10 different people for $100 or $200 a crack, that may cost you some money, but remember, the time and the effort that you invest and the money that you invest early on in the process is going to pay off huge when you realize you didn't waste months and hundreds of dollars on someone who promised you the moon and failed to deliver. So keep these things in mind. Also remember that you should not go to attorney websites that offer reviews. They're easy to fix. What I mean is by like fixing the game. They're easy to fool. There are plenty of people that you'll see that have 5-star reviews that are some of the worst lawyers you'll ever meet. There are very, very good lawyers who are simply unpopular, and so people will go and make fake website reviews for them. So you can't really rely on website reviews. It might be useful to read about the attorney, it might be useful to read some of the reviews, but any of you who have also run your own business or worked for a business that gets reviewed know that there are people out there that'll just troll the review sites. Same thing for lawyers. And there are lawyers that will game the system to make themselves look far better than they really are. You'll also be told that you may want to talk to friends and family and trusted people that went through a divorce and say, well, did you like your lawyer? Quite frankly, there are people that have used bad lawyers who are either too embarrassed to admit it, so they'll tell you they liked their lawyer when they didn't, or there are people that really don't understand how the legal system works, so they wouldn't know if they had a good lawyer or not. So you really can't trust them. It's useful to ask around, and those should be some of the people, those lawyers that are recommended to you by friends or family should be among the 8 or 10 that you interview, but that's not where it ends. So if you can't go online and use the website review, and you can't talk to trusted families and friends, and you cannot just go to free consultations, what's left to do? Here's what you do. Rather than trying to figure out who's recommended online, which are scams, trying to talk to people that aren't lawyers who to recommend other lawyers. Oh, and by the way, don't talk to other lawyers about recommendations. I should say, well, not that you shouldn't talk to them. simply don't put all your eggs in that basket. There are a lot of lawyers who, if you go to a business lawyer or a bankruptcy lawyer or a personal injury lawyer and ask for a good divorce lawyer recommendation, it has been my experience that most lawyers will simply give you a name so that you'll go away, not because they actually know anything good about what a good divorce lawyer is. So what's left for you to do? Rather than try to look for the best, you want the best, but looking for the best online will actually not lead you to the best lawyer. What you do is this. Start with the lawyers who bill themselves out as divorce lawyers. Go to their websites, make sure they're not complete idiots who don't misspell their words on their website or have something that was handmade. Get a feel for how competent and how serious they are, but then start with the people who are the closest to where you live. Go to the first lawyer who's a divorce lawyer close to your house or your office. If that lawyer doesn't impress you, go to the person who's next closest and work your way out until you find somebody that way. First of all, that's good because you'll spend less time traveling to the lawyer you eventually find. But the other reason is that you won't be just chasing your tail by using website reviews that are no good and friend reviews that are really based on nothing. Instead, you simply start out and do a scientific way of moving until you find that attorney. That's the way I look for attorneys when I have to hire them, and I have had to hire attorneys before. You'll want to do the same when looking for the best attorney. And after you've gone to that 8 or 10, I'll be surprised if you don't find a person who is a perfect fit for you, or at least the best fit for you given your time frame, your interests, and your budget.